Hi, I'm Viv from One Little Seed, and today I am joined by Ben, who is the CEO at Redmap, and we're just going to chat a little bit about our working relationship over the last 3 years. So Ben, did you want to tell me a little bit about Redmap and what you do?
Yeah, so Redmap's a small software provider based here in Australia. We focus on document automation. We operate in a couple of markets, primarily with an ERP system called Pronto, and then in the aged care space.
Okay, great. And we've been working together for, as I said, about 3 years now. How would you describe what we do for you?
So when we first met One Little Seed, I had nothing, zero marketing whatsoever. My whole marketing plan had been based on taking the Pronto, at that stage, sales team out and using my entertainment account as a strategy for generating leads. That was it, that's all we had. And so it was a low bar to start with. I think we first met over what was a dysfunctional website. It didn't say what we did. It was not written in the appropriate corporate language and had really very little content. And I actually understand technically it was also very poorly done in the back end.
Yes,
right?
It was a bit of a mess.
And so we started there, and from there really the next 3 years, what I think we've achieved is we've built some level of sophistication into the team. There's still loads of opportunity to improve, but I think that's where we're at the moment.
Yeah, there's always more to do. It never stops. So have you worked with other agencies in the past? And would you say that our service differs in any way from your experience there?
I haven't. What I would say is I think one of the reasons why I came to One Little Seed was I'm sure I went into Google and said marketing consulting firm or something like that and got a list of all the likely suitors that you would expect. I'm not interested in that. As a small business owner, I'm not interested in any way of dealing with some account manager from a big firm who really is only interested in what their billable units are that particular month. All of my service providers are far more niche, far more specialised. What I find with that is they get way more integrated into the business. There seems to be a greater level of accountability. And certainly that's what I found with the One Little Seed team.
Nice. Yeah, and we were having a chat just before about one particular project and I guess the learning journey that we went on together to really start to understand the legislation in the aged care industry, the changes and what's going on in that space. So I think, that's been really something different, I guess. For me, it's a space that we don't always operate hugely in the aged care space. And so do you feel as though over time we've been able to delve more in depth into some of those different challenges that are happening in that space?
Yeah, I think there's more regularity with our relationship than I would get at a larger agency. And so we've gone, as you've said, quite deep in some of the legislative requirements in the aged care space, deeper than I imagine I would get someone at a larger organisation to do. And that's allowed us to plan better for marketing activities, plan better for conferences. I have text messages from you on the weekend where you've sent me clippets out of the newspaper, which I'm not sure who reads them anymore other than you, but you sent me this newspaper clip out which was really relevant to the changes in funding. We're not going to get that from one of those big shiny marketing firms, and I have no interest in dealing with them. You guys have been great.
Fantastic. And I was going to ask what else you like about One Little Seed, but you've just said some
Well, there are a few things though, right? So I like how we get the opportunity for everything under one roof, right? And what that has meant for us is sometimes I need graphics work, sometimes I need website stuff. Other times we've been trying to establish more regular content in and around LinkedIn and other, well, it's pretty limited, but some sort of social presence, right? And being able to ring you and say, hey, I need this or hey, I need that has been beneficial, definitely. You persisted with us when we were very irregular in our strategy at the start. We sort of we're attracted to the bright lights a little bit. And so I know that meant quite regularly I'd bring you and go, hey, stop everything, let's go and do this. And dealt with that, right? That's something that I think is pretty different.
Yeah, and I guess being a small firm, we pride ourselves on being able to change direction and be more agile in that way.
Yep.
And, so if you need us to drop everything and focus on one thing, then that's no problem.
And sometimes that just happens, right? Sometimes that's absolutely what a business needs.
Of course, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, you have to focus on what is the most important issue at hand in that moment.
Yeah.
And, if that means pausing your marketing strategy, you can't get worried about that post that was going to go out that
Yep.
you're going to have to put on hold. Okay. Are there any major wins that come to mind when thinking about our work together?
So as I said, we had a very immature marketing capability when we started. And it wasn't that there was none, right? We actually, one of the problems or one of the reasons that we didn't put and invest more in marketing was actually my strategy had just go make the Pronto guys our buddy worked really, really well. The reason why I started investing in it is that wasn't going to scale, right? And so now I look at us, we have content that I think looks professional, is really well written and well investigated and formed. And it's now part of an automated platform where we can start to feed in opportunities that we'd like to get in front of. And that all just works. We have a little bit of a celebration. It's not quite like the sales bell dinging because we have lots of sales, but every time I get a meeting in my calendar for which I have had no involvement with is a huge win internally. And we've had a couple of them recently, which is great.
Yeah, fantastic. Yeah, I think for me, one of the exciting moments is when we went out to market with the aged care solution and started getting a lot of proactive response from that. People coming up to you at conferences and saying, hey, I saw an email you sent and I want to meet with you.
Yep.
And that kind of response in the market where companies have seen maybe one piece of communication and they're approaching you to talk to you about your solution is fairly unusual.
Yeah. Well, our time to market there is what's most impressive about that, right? So Pronto, we've been running for 13 years. And so, there's a lot of market knowledge about us already there. What we achieved in the aged care space when we entered is we shortcut that sort of presence in the market. You helped us investigate which conferences would be the best ones to go to. We turned up at those conferences more prepared than we would have had we have been doing it ourselves. And so really my time to market in that aged care space was so much shorter. And that's critical when we're trying to grow sales and grow business. And I don't want to take another 13 years to get known in the aged care space.
Of course. And I think some of that comes back to the depth of knowledge that together we were able to build in that space, and then the way that translated into the content we're putting out there.
Yep, absolutely.
So one of the conversations we've been having a lot internally, because everyone in the industry is talking about it, is around AI.
Yep.
And we're not particularly concerned that AI is coming to take our jobs.
No, I don't think so.
But what would you, in terms of AI coming along to generate all of your content or, put together your social posts or anything like that from a marketing perspective, can you share with us any reasons that wouldn't be a strategy that you'd be going down?
So it's really funny. My son works from home once a week. And so I set him up in my office because actually I wanted him to hear what a real businessman does and what they're running. And so anyhow, he was doing his assignment this day. Don't tell his work, but he was doing his assignment this day. And I watched him writing all these prompts into what would have been ChatGPT. And they were pages and pages of prompts. In fact, I said to him, how much time did it take you to write those prompts? Oh, a couple of hours or something like that. How long would it take to have just done it in the first place? And he couldn't actually give me a justification in terms of the return on investment. And that's been my experience on the AI side. like I imagine everyone else has heard, oh, it's so easy, just go put it into an engine. It really isn't. It doesn't come out as you imagine. I don't understand how to manipulate it versus when someone's doing something for you and go, look, I don't really like that, or don't you think we should take this angle or something like that? And so I haven't found it to be super productive. Now, I need a set of terms and conditions for a really simple deal I did the other day. Type that stuff into ChatGPT all day long, no trouble at all. But to actually be creative and write content that isn't laden with adjectives coming out of your adjectives, and you read it and you go, oh, someone's learned. My secretary sent an email to me from Manila the other day. I went, someone's learned how to use ChatGPT, because you can just tell.
It's so generic. It sounds exactly like a robot, right?
Yeah, 100%, right?
Yeah.
So it's a benefit. I'm sure some people are absolutely seeing benefits in it. It was really quick to get terms and conditions. Would I go and try and build a marketing plan on that? Absolutely not.
Okay. Yeah, interesting. I mean, we obviously feel the same way,
Yeah.
but it's always nice, because there is such an enormous amount of chat in the market. It's always nice to get a client perspective.
Crystal sent out some notes the other month about, hey, the terms and conditions that, I want to say it was Adobe or something like that. It's not that relevant, but sent out some notes. And what I found really interesting is how these big tech companies are trying to steal everyone's ideas. Like everything, we don't do on-premise software anymore, has to be in the cloud. And oh, by the way, while we were at it, we're going to take all of your content. And so it would be really interesting to watch that from a market perspective. Certainly, I think, like you saw with automation and robotics in the manual world, I certainly think there are areas where you'll see higher penetration of this. And one day it will be completely involved in everything we do. I think you guys are all right for a little while yet.
Definitely. Yeah, and we look at the ethics of it, and we look at how the source of the material that's being used to train the AI.
It's outrageous.
It is. It is, yeah.
The music angle, the copyright in and around songs and whatnot, I don't understand how that all goes. But I guess people were also saying that when Napster was out, and now Spotify's everywhere, right? So something will happen, but I just don't see that for a while.
Mm. What is one of the biggest business challenges that you're facing that you feel like One Little Seed is helping you to address?
I think access to solid resources, well-trained, capable resources is a ubiquitous problem for all business, every single one, right? And as we know, we've read all that aged care stuff. They can't get care workers. I can't get project managers. It is literally everywhere. I don't actually know where the people went, because somehow COVID happened and then all of a sudden there's just no one anywhere. I don't understand that. Right? But that's what happened. And so the advantage of dealing with One Little Seed is I got immediate access to fully trained marketing assets that I wouldn't have access to. Because, I would go out to marketing and go, okay, I need a marketing person. Well, they've got to be a little bit graphic design, and they've got to be able to write stuff, and you don't know what the bits are. Job description, no one will ever be able to service it. And then I'll go, oh, I only want to pay $100,000 for that resource. And go, well, they can't do any of those things, right? And so what One Little Seed did was give me access to resources that I absolutely wouldn't have had. And whilst I know you've come more from the channel market, the IT channel market, the understanding of technology and the professionalism in the content and whatnot, that stuff you need in every market that you're going to service. And so that's one of the biggest challenges that you've helped me with.
All right. Thanks so much for coming in, Ben, today. Really
You're
appreciate
welcome.
your time.
Thanks for taking the time to let me have a chat.
No worries. I'll talk to you soon.